Students, today we will discuss about anti-asthmatic drugs. Anti-asthmatic drugs are the drugs which are used for the treatment of bronchial asthma. Now, what is asthma? Its definition is bronchial asthma is a chronic inflammatory disorder of airways characterized by hyperresponsiveness or hyperreactivity of tracheobronchial smooth muscle to various stimuli. In asthma, there is inflammation of airways, narrowing of air tubes or bronchoconstriction, increased bronchial secretion, mucosal edema, and mucus plugging. So basically, asthma is an inflammatory disorder in which there is narrowing of air tubes or bronchoconstriction. One more similar disorder is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD. Now, what is COPD? It is a progressive disease with alveolar destruction and bronchiolar fibrosis, and it is characterized by emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Means there is inflammation of bronchioles in this disease, COPD. Now, the symptoms of asthma. First symptom is dyspnea and wheezing, coughing, shortness of breath, and tightness in chest. Dyspnea is difficulty in breathing, and wheezing is the sound produced during breathing. Now, what are the differences between asthma and COPD? First difference is the age of onset. Asthma usually occurs before the age of 40 years, whereas COPD usually occurs after the age of 40 years. Then sputum production is infrequent in asthma, whereas it is often in COPD. Then allergies are often in asthma and infrequent in COPD. Means asthma is basically an allergic disorder, whereas COPD in COPD the allergies are infrequent. Then disease course. In asthma the disease course is stable, whereas in COPD there is progressive worsening of the symptoms. You can say that COPD is a progressive disorder, whereas in asthma the disease course is stable. And the clinical symptoms are intermittent in case of asthma, means there are attacks. You have already heard in asthma there are attacks. So the clinical symptoms are intermittent and variable, whereas in COPD the clinical symptoms are persistent. Next are the asthma triggers. First are the allergens like dust mites, pollutants, pollens, irritants. Then next drugs like beta blockers and aspirin are the triggers for asthma. Next I have physical exercise, cold air, upper respiratory tract viral infections, and stress. Now we will discuss the pathophysiology of asthma. Asthma is an inflammatory disorder and there is inflammation of bronchioles, and whenever there is inflammation in some organ or tissue, there is release of inflammatory mediators from the inflammatory cells. For example, histamine is released from mast cells, and in this pathophysiology you can see when histamine is released there is bronchospasm and edema of the bronchial mucosa, and this results in increased bronchial secretions. Then the gases trapped in alveoli and reduced ventilation, and finally it results in coughing, shortness of breath, and wheezing. Now, what are the approaches to the treatment? We will discuss the different approaches which are used for the treatment of asthma. Basically, asthma is an allergic phenomena. So, the first approach is prevention of the antigen antibody reaction. Then second approach for the treatment is neutralization of IgE antibodies, and here the antibodies like omalizumab can be used. Then third approach is suppression of inflammation and bronchial hyperactivity. As we have already discussed that it is an inflammatory disorder, so one of the approaches is to suppress the inflammation. So suppression of inflammation and bronchial hyperactivity. Then next approach is prevention of release mediators. Prevention of release mediators. Mediators here means the inflammatory mediators. as when there is inflammation, the inflammatory mediators are released, so we can prevent the release of these inflammatory mediators, and here mast cell stabilizers can be used. Then next approach is antagonism of released mediators. Now the inflammatory mediators which are released, they can be inhibited, their action can be inhibited, and for this the various antagonists can be used, like leukotriene antagonist or antihistamines. Then the next approach is blockage of constrictor neurotransmitter. As we have already read about asthma, that there is bronchoconstriction. So any neurotransmitter which is causing the constriction of bronchioles, it can be inhibited. So this approach says that there is we can use the blockage of constrictor neurotransmitter, and in this the example can be anticholinergics. Then next approach is mimicking the dilator neurotransmitter. Mimicking the dilator neurotransmitter means any substance that mimics the effect of dilator neurotransmitter, like sympathomimetics, can be used. And the last approach is directly acting bronchodilators. Directly acting bronchodilators means which directly act on the bronchioles and dilate them. In this methylxanthines may be used. Now we come to the classification. So the first class is bronchodilators. In bronchodilators there are three subclasses. First class is beta 2 sympathomimetics. In beta 2 sympathomimetics, examples are salbutamol, terbutaline, salmeterol and formoterol. Then second class is methylxanthines. Examples are theophylline, aminophylline, hydroxyethyl theophylline and doxophylline. Then third subclass is anticholinergics. Example ipratropium bromide and tiotropium bromide. Then second class is leukotriene antagonists. In leukotriene antagonists, the examples are montelukast and zafirlukast. Then third class is mast cell stabilizers. Examples are sodium chromoglycate, ketotifen. Then in the next class, corticosteroids. Example hydrocortisone, prednisolone, beclomethasone, budesonide and fluticasone. And the last class is anti-IgE antibodies. Here example is omalizumab. So this is about the classification of the anti-asthmatic drugs, and in next class we will discuss the details of these drugs.